Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, and how you can build a cloud-connected app in 15 minutes or less. Thank you so much for being here. As I mentioned, we have a bunch of events joining. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. We're echoAR. It's a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps, basically providing tools and network infrastructure for developers and creators like yourself. I'm going to start by saying hello. I'm Alon, founder of echoAR, based in New York. Then my master's at computer science at Columbia University, specializing in augmented and virtual reality, and my undergrad in computer science and electrical engineering. So I'm a certified nerd and a big believer kind of in the AR/VR space. Before we start, I want to kind of level set. I'm going to throw out these terms a lot: augmented reality, virtual reality. So let's define them together in order to kind of understand what they mean. I just want to level set here. So virtual reality or VR is when everything around you is digital, fully immersed in a 3D environment. Everything you see is projected to your eyes through some kind of headset that mostly occludes your vision or sometimes controls what you can hear. You're basically seeing kind of CGI imagery, computer-generated imagery that is, again, being projected into your eyes. And as opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which you still see the real world, but that world is being overlaid with CGI imagery and digital content. And we're looking at the world through some optical see-through, like glasses or some kind of headset, or a camera see-through, like a tablet or a phone. A really cool way to understand this is the amazing movie Space Jam, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is digital. He's kind of fully immersed in this cartoonish environment, playing around with the bugs and the other Looney Tunes, as opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have the Looney Tunes bugs coming into our world, playing basketball with Bill Murray, and basically interacting with them in a real setting. So this is kind of the comical understanding of AR versus VR. Either we are going into Looney Town, or Looney Town is coming to us. A really cool example of that in the real world that you all know is, for example, Pokemon Go. People are running around interacting with digital monsters that are not actually there. Or in virtual reality, you have an example like Beat Saber. It's a really cool game that you slash cubes based on the rhythm of the music in a fully kind of digital environment. So these are really cool kind of mainstream examples. Another example that is really, really close to my heart, and the pun is intended, is a project that I did as my at Columbia University. We took CT and MRIs, converted them into 3D models, basically deploy them to these smart for the physician to wear, and the physician will see the inside of the patient in real time during the surgery. It was an amazing experience, an amazing use case of augmented reality that basically allowed the physician to get this kind of 3D reference map of the patient's anatomy in real time. The problem was, though, that in order to achieve that, I had to kind of wake up every day really, really early, which I really hate, take those 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, rebuild the application, deploy those smart glasses, and that process was so frustrating. It took so much time. And for me personally, as a developer, I only wanted to do two things. I wanted to manage shady content, and I wanted to deliver it to their device. And when talking to other developers building augmented virtual reality applications for retail and shopping and data visualization and games, they all said the same thing. There's no easy way to kind of manage and deliver 3D data. But if you think about it, that problem was already solved for 2D. You don't need to be a web developer to update the blog post. You can use, if you want to build a website, you can use something like Heroku as your cloud platform, or if you're building a mobile app like for Android or iOS, you can use Parse or Firebase as your backend as a service. So we went from web to mobile to now immersive AR, VR, XR, MR, called whatever. And the question has to be asked, who's going to build that cloud platform? And you've guessed it, that's us. Or echoAR, a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps, basically providing tools and network infrastructure for developers and companies building applications at scale. We shared affiliated links with the event organizers, so make sure you use that to register and get access to our free tier. This is a perk that we're extending to all the events. So definitely kind of make sure to use that perk and get free premium access to everything that we have in our platform. Let's dive in a little bit, and then we're going to transition into a really cool demo on how you can build an app. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. So think about it. As we mentioned, you don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post. You can drag and drop an image or video. Suddenly that appears in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and we're both watching an episode on Netflix, automatically we get the best streaming experience. We translate these concepts into augmented and virtual reality, basically providing you with a way to manage and deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this kind of bidirectional connection between the cloud and content. You as a user can't move an image or a video on a website, but you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room, and that needs to be updated in the cloud. So this is basically what we've built, this content management system and delivery network specifically for 3D. As I mentioned, you can register for free on our website or use the affiliated link that we shared with the event organizers to get free access, basically all the premium tiers for free. So definitely kind of use that perk. But let's dive in. So once you register for an API key, like for example, I registered here, you get access to this console. You get an email and you get a link to access the console. What you see on the left is the console, and on the right, you just see my phone. Super simple. And here we're going to do something really cool. We're going to start off by adding some 3D content. So for example, I'm going to do add to cloud, and I have all these 3D models that I can use for free to add to my application. I can also use kind of our search engine to search third-party aggregators for 3D content, but you can also upload like images and videos and 3D models yourself. Super easy. I'm going to start with something simple. I'm going to upload this Empire State Building. It's the same file that you would use for 3D printing. So we take that file, we convert, we compress it, so it works in Android and iOS and Magically, you name it. Once it's done, you can see it here on the platform. I'm gonna first show you how to to see that automatically in mobile, for example. So here at the downloads, we have all these different kind of sample apps and different SDKs for Unity and Java and Swift and Flutter and Unity. And we're later gonna see how you can build an app with Unity. But I'm gonna start simple with just opening the sample app, plugging in my API key right here. Data will stream from the cloud to the device. Camera will instantiate. You're seeing my apartment right here. And voila, I'm able to see the Empire State. I'm able to walk around and walk inside. Super, super simple. But what happens if I want to change this to something else? So instead of rebuilding the application and doing anything technical, I'm going to go back here, delete the previous entry, upload something else, and that will automatically update on the app across all platforms. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to throw in this different 3D model. Same process occurs. We build and store that kind of 3D model. Once that's done, I'm going to open the exact same app. You don't have to reinstall anything. The app itself is super, super small. It just has kind of just the camera access, basically. Camera instantiates, recognizes the floor, and voila, suddenly it's a different building. As again, you can get this app right here. But I also mentioned that we do that across all platforms. So for example, we were with the company in the art space. They didn't want to have an app. They had people randomly walking into an art gallery. They just wanted them to open a browser and see AR flying around them without doing anything and installing anything. No worries. If you click this button, it will generate QR codes that you can scan. And I really recommend that you do that as well with me, but I'm going to do it right here. Point your phone to this QR code, and you'll be able to see this building in your phone, so right now, wherever you are. So just click the button right here, scan this QR code. Most kind of phones already have kind of this built-in QR code scanner. It redirects to a website. You don't have to install anything, basically allowing you to see AR through your phone without installation. So let's see how that works. Redirects to a website, as I mentioned. We're able to kind of see the building, and then we can do see an AR. Camera will instantiate. No need to install anything, and voila, suddenly we see the same building, but now we see it in web instead of what we had earlier that we saw it on mobile. Super, super cool, right? How cool is that? Perfect. So we saw mobile, we saw web. I'm going to keep it a little bit here for you kind of to keep scanning it if you want. Next thing I want to show you is Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use, and later we're going to see how to build applications with it. So right now we're going to opening a sample app in Unity that, again, you can just download here. No surprises there. We're going to see the same building right here. But let's say I want to change it a little bit. Let's say I want to animate it in real time. So what I can do is I can click this button right here. I can do the plus sign, and then I can add some metadata. For example, direction equals right. Let's do that. Bam, suddenly it starts to rotate in real time. How cool is that? Or let's say I think it's really small, so I can make it bigger. But just by adding metadata, I can change everything in the console, in the app, and that's really cool. And again, the power of the cloud kind of comes into hand of like changing things in real time. If I delete that, that will stop, or go back to normal. Really, really cool. These are obviously simple examples, but they're to show that you can basically control anything you want through the kind of console and affect the real-time app. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. And if not, I'm just going to transition to more and more demos. So up until now, we saw 3 examples. We saw mobile, web, Unity, but all of them kind of did the same thing when it came to surface detection. The camera recognized the floor and then project AR content on top of that. Another thing that we support is image recognition. That basically allows you to overlay data on top of an image, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. So you can click this button again, the QR code generator, and then I'm going to do see on an image. I'm going to scan this QR code, and again, you can use your phones right now to scan this too, so I would really recommend that you do that. It redirects to a website. You don't have to install anything. But now keep your phone oriented toward the QR code, and bam, suddenly you can see this building kind of sticks the QR code as an image and pops out of the screen. Really cool, really kind of nice, and basically allows you to kind of overlay images with 3D models or videos or images. These images can be anything. Specifically now it's a QR code, but that could be a business card or that basically when you scan, you see videos of yourself. It could be a magazine that shows advertisements. You're limited only by your imagination, basically. Let's see how you can upload custom images as well. So if I throw here, and let's choose, let's do our own kind of content. I'm going to throw in this MP4 file, this video file. And here, oops, I'm going to throw in this video file, and I am going to do, instead of doing anywhere, I'm going to do on an image. I'm going to select this specific image, and I'm going to throw in this, I don't know, PNG file. So now the same process occurs, but now we're converting the kind of 3D image and video as opposed to what we had earlier with the 3D model. Another thing that I want to show you is that you can actually upload things to specific locations. So for example, I can put something in New York, and then when people open it in New York, they're going to see, let's say, the Empire State Building. But if you open it in San Francisco, you're going to see the Golden Gate Bridge. Basically, an example for you to kind of build this Pokemon Go style experience that you can match data with location. So let's see that. So there you go. We have like the fox right here, and we have the specific location right here. Super, super simple. Yeah, so let me show you how you can see the video. So if you want, scan this with me. Again, it will redirect to a website. You don't have to do anything technical. Once that is done, I'm able to kind of click, and like this will not work anymore as the target. But if I open the original image and I place my phone in front of the image, there you go. Suddenly, the image overlays the video. I'm kind of changing it with my fingers to change the size. But basically, now the kind of web recognizes the image, and we can overlay data on top of that image. Super, super quick. Perfect. So let's recap what we did so far. So we uploaded images, videos, 3D models. We placed them on locations, on the images, anywhere on the floor. We saw image detection, surface recognition. What else can we do? So we can obviously change the theme, which is really cool. We saw all the downloads, that you can basically download the SDK to all these different platforms. If it's Flutter, Swift, Java, you name it. We have all these different kind of example codes that are already pre-built that you can use. But other resources that we have are kind of available here. We have the documentation, which is really, really powerful. It has literally step-by-step guides of everything we did so far, literally GIFs showing you how to recreate what I just did. Really, really powerful stuff. I'm going to share that in the chat. Other stuff that we have, maybe I'll also share with you kind of a link to the 3D model if you couldn't scan the QR code. So check that out. Also, our GitHub page, really kind of powerful resource, has so many open source examples that you can just use right now. If you're in a hackathon or you want to build something really cool, you can really use like all these kind of examples right here. I'm going to show you some of them. Let's see. I don't know. Let's do a few of these. Let's do the election one. Let's do a living room one. Let's do a face change. Let's do COVID. And let's do remote work. There's so many really cool examples here that you can literally kind of take. They're all open source. So for example, here's a cool AR election, US election thing that you can kind of play around with and create in Unity. Here's a living room inside of the living room. This is a really compelling kind of 3D application that you can build. Obviously a winning project. Face change with filters that you can do, really cool stuff. This is a COVID visualizer that later we're going to build together. A remote work example, they can kind of project the person in 3D. Definitely check that out. Freaky Museum, images coming to life, like we just saw, that you can kind of throw in artwork. Really, really cool. Let's talk about other resources. So you can always join our Slack channel to ask questions from our support team. I'm also going to hang out there to kind of answer people's questions. You can always email us or tweet us. So definitely kind of take these resources in mind when you're building your application. Other things that you can do. So you can add content, as we saw, to specific kind of 3D models, specific content, but we also kind of show you that you can upload content anywhere in the application. So for example, we worked with a company that did a murder mystery game, kind of scavenger hunt. They can basically add different content, different scenes, but they also have like just data for all the scenes. This description is a way for you to kind of monitor how much bandwidth storage you're using. As I mentioned, if you use this, the affiliated link that we provided you all, you're going to get this kind of tier for free. So definitely check that out. When it comes to location, it's a really cool way to kind of monitor the content distribution around the world, the servers that are kind of connected to your app, and the usage. Security, if you're working as a team, specifically in Hackathon, you can add users to your team to work together. That's really cool. In the insights page, you can see some stuff on your application. Oh, perfect. I see some of you already also scanned the QR code that I gave. So we can kind of see metrics on how people are using the application, where it's being scanned and stuff like that, how people are using your project. The users, we can monitor user distribution. The tutorial page is really cool. It has a lot of kind of frequently asked questions, links to our GitHub, to documentation. Definitely check them out. They're really, really cool. They're all right here. So kind of look through them. Inspiration is my favorite page. It is filled with amazing examples of things that you can build with AR, VR, that were built with echoAR, like the hour installation that I mentioned, or the murder mystery game, or the Verizon 5G project. So many really cool things here for Army and retail and shopping and healthcare and data visualization and games and COVID-19. People did like really cool projects lately. Really, really, really cool stuff that you can check out, like a mask visualizer. So I would definitely kind of recommend you all playing around with it and kind of seeing what people have built. It's really kind of cool project that I really recommend that you play around with to get inspired. If there's any questions, feel free to add them in the chat. And if not, I'll move on to a more technical part of the workshop and basically showing you how to build an app. So if there's any questions, feel free to add them in the chat. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to kind of create a Unity application together. It's going to be super, super cool. So let's see how that works. So you start off by kind of downloading our Unity SDK. It's here. Just click that. It will download a file that you can add to your Unity project. Now, this is Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use, basically to build 3D applications. After you download our SDK, you just import it in, double click that, and we're able to kind of see this empty scene. You click on echoAR and then go to examples. You're going to open this empty scene that has nothing, as opposed to just the kind of echoAR game object. I'm going to start something super simple. I'm going to put this side by side. Let's plug in our API key right here, and I'm going to press play. The minute I do that, data will stream from the cloud to the device, to the game engine. We'll be able to see the building. There you go. The video is also here. Maybe I'll delete the video because it's playing in my ear. But basically, you're able to kind of see the data appear out of thin air inside the game engine. Let's move the Fox. We already know how to do that. So let's do x = 10. Bam. And what's cool about this, like you can see the Fox is 10 feet away. The building is rotating. If I stop this, everything disappears. So data basically kind of only appears from the cloud. When you unpause, when you unplay the application, nothing actually persists in memory. This means your app will be super, super small, and the data will come from the cloud. When I press play again, you'll see that everything comes back. And what's cool about this, it comes back in the same kind of configuration that we had earlier. So if I had the Fox 10 feet away, it remains 10 feet away, and the buildings keep still rotating. Super, super cool. Same thing with like the real-time updates. If I delete this, it just disappears automatically, right? If I kind of remove the 10 feet away metadata, it returns back to its original place. Super, super cool. So now let's use that kind of same thing to basically have some modifications, change things. Let's see how that works. So now what we're going to do, what's cool about echoAR is that every kind of 3D model has this script attached to it, the custom behavior script. This is a script that you can change to basically do whatever you want, to kind of add any feature, add any specific kind of application. And today, we're going to show you how to kind of change that a little bit to add interactions or add, I don't know, changing a name. So let's see how that works. So this is a Unity script. It's in C#. If you know C#, perfect. If you know any other object-oriented language like Java, you're good to go. It's pretty simple. It doesn't have to be like so kind of insane. Like, do not fear this. We're going to start with basically kind of looking at two major functions. One is the start function, which evident by its name happens when you start the application. Basically, this code runs when the application starts. And the other function is the update function. This happens every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D now. This means that your kind of application runs a scene. It kind of renders a 3D scene, and that means that kind of this function will run every single frame. This also means that this complexity of the function needs to be like really, really high optimized, because if this gets stuck or hangs, your entire application gets stuck or hangs. So make sure that this function is like really well optimized. But let's start with something simple for now. Let's kind of see what we have in the start function. So in the start function, we have a snippet of code that says, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a name? And if I do, if I have a name, so let's set that name to the kind of name of the object. Super simple, really kind of basic stuff. Let's see how that works. So now if I press play, we see the fox called Arctic Fox. But if I'll add a name to it, let's see how that works. Name equals, let's say Kevin. And I'm pressing play again. Voila, suddenly the name of the fox is Kevin. Super, super simple. What happens if I change this to something else? Let's say I'm changing it to Sam now. Nothing happens. Why is that? Because the snippet of code was actually in the start function. If you want this to happen every single frame, you've guessed it, we need to move this snippet of code from the start function to the update function. This means that now every single frame, we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a name? And if so, I'm going to update that. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to restart the application. Now we have the fox named Sam. Now I'm going to do Kevin. And voila, suddenly the name of the fox is Kevin. Automatically it changes, super, super simple. So this is obviously a simple example to show you that you can like change data in real time. But it is show that you can kind of use metadata, control if flows, enable, disable features remotely. Super, super simple. So this was a cool example. I'm going to do a more kind of sophisticated example in a sec, but let's see if you have any questions. This is super cool. Loved it. Loved it too. What are your thoughts on the AR/VR effect in the medical field? Is the implementation issues in health? So as we mentioned, literally our first example that we gave today was about using AR in a medical domain and specifically for surgeries. I think it's obviously a game changer, allowing physicians to do surgery with 3D. This is something that I'm obviously very passionate about because I did my entire thesis on that. So you can also revisit that example or look at the inspiration page for really a lot of cool things that people did for specifically medical surgery, stuff like that. How close can echoAR come to photorealism? So it really depends on the 3D model that you upload. If you upload something that you scan, that will be photorealistic. It's not kind of, if you search for a 3D model that's photorealistic and you upload, that will be photorealistic. It really depends on like the content that you're uploading. From our perspective, it doesn't matter what you stream and stuff like that. Great questions, everyone. So now let's do a more kind of sophisticated example. I'm going to upload some different content. Let's upload a 3D model right here. And I'm also going to throw in this CSV file. This is basically an Excel file with all these like keys and values that are going to be preloaded. I'm going to use this inputs. It's really cool that you can upload it together. Throwing it right here, same process occurs. We're going to convert that. In the meanwhile, I'm going to kind of swap the custom behavior script under the hood. Let's do that. Perfect. And now let's review it together while it's uploading. So now the custom behavior script is a little more interesting. We have an array of continents. We have a dictionary. We have this data structure. We have the start function that looks exactly the same. But now the update function is much more robust. Here we can see that we have Earth already uploaded. And this is a little more photorealistic, by the way, going back to kind of the question. And we have all this data right here. So now let's look at the update function together. What do we have? So we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a scale? If so, let's parse that into a number. Then let's iterate over all continents. If I have a hit for a continent, do I have some information about it? If so, let's parse that into the number of cases. If we have a graph, let's set that graph to the size of the cases. If we don't have a graph, let's create it. Let's create a cylinder, give it a color, give it a name, give it a location, give it a size, add some text to it. If we don't have data, let's just delete that. Super simple. And now let's see what happens when you press play. Data will stream from the cloud to the game engine, as we saw earlier. But now, again, we have like more features, and voila, we see Earth. It's spinning right here. We have all these data points around COVID-19 cases. If I change something here, for example, let's change the data set for Antarctica. Bam, suddenly it jumps. If I delete it, it disappears. So this is a really cool example that you can kind of build, which is obviously a little kind of timely, specifically with COVID-19. You can take this example, it's fully open sourced on our GitHub page, hook it up with some third-party API, and then kind of add the data through API calls. Let's say you're connecting to the WHO, the World Health Organization, and grabbing the data there, and then the graph can actually update in kind of real time and show these cases instead of like doing them manually. A really cool example, obviously a winning project. We have a question. Will the detailing on the model affect the streaming quality? Bringing the polygons like a 3D picture. So the models, when you upload a 3D model, it already has kind of some kind of quality, some kind of texture, some kind of polygon numbers. Our system does sometimes decimate or kind of create a different version of it that is lossless. Like you're going to still keep the same quality. And when you stream that, that will kind of be as realistic as the model was originally when uploaded. That like we take care of that, if that makes sense. So some of them are kind of recreated, like you mentioned, but they're basically kind of converted to different file formats to optimize for streaming, basically. Great question. Okay, so we saw this example. Again, super simple, but it's, again, for you to show that you can like basically build whatever you want. Now let's go back to the slides, recap a little bit, and move forward. So what do we see so far? So we saw you can upload content as a developer. You can use Unity, Android, iOS, web, you name it, conjugated, technical skills. Everything we did in the like 50% of this workshop was non-technical. Drag to drop, scan the QR code, and there we go. And then we build, store, and deliver all the data across the world. Conjugators obviously need no technical skills. Developers save time and money in hooking up servers and all that. And companies can sell data all over the world. We talked about use cases. We talked about surgery and shopping and tourism and ads. And we saw the inspiration page that is filled with amazing examples of AR, VR that I'm so going to kind of be excited to see what you're going to build so we can feature you as well on the inspiration page. So definitely kind of submit a cool project. A little bit us as the company. We won a bunch of awards back with some of the most amazing investors in the country, like Imagine Ventures and Techstars and Verizon. We were featured all these different events. So when things are going back, hopefully we'll be able to see you all in actual events. We'd love to say that we inspire people to build applications across all platforms. So start building. The sky's the limit, and you're only limited by your imagination. So start building really cool 3D things. Super excited to see what you're all going to build with echoAR. Make sure you use that affiliate link to get premium free access to everything in our platform. Use the documentation to go through the links. And yeah, thank you so much for being in this workshop. Feel free again to join us in our Slack channel. I'm going to send the link right here if you have any questions. Let me share the link here. Copy a link. Put it here. We have a few questions. Does this allow integration with Instagram stories? I'm not sure what you mean integration with Instagram stories. Do you want to post on Instagram, or do you want to take an Instagram story and put it in AR? Regardless, no, like you can upload a video like we did earlier. So if you have a video that is a story, you can upload the video and that will work. Hopefully that answers the questions. Can you use any programming language? So it's not any programming language, but it's definitely a lot. There's a lot here that you can use. Check out our SDKs and our documentation for all of them. But like Unity is really good with C#, Java is, or Swift or Flutter. Like there's a bunch of options that you can use. Can I also use echoAR integrating a AR-based story? What is an AR-based story? You want to add to Instagram? I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry about that. Yeah, but what do you? We don't have integration with Instagram. I'm not sure what you mean, but we don't have an integration with Instagram. Abel is asking, do you integrate with Spark AR or Unity? Yeah, so we integrate with Unity. Like we showed in the demo, everything was Unity. Here's the Unity SDK. There's an example here for Unity that is kind of fully formed. All you have to do is plug in your API key, and that should work. No, so you can't add AR elements for recording on Instagram. I mean, you can build an app and then share it in an Instagram story, but this, like, we don't integrate with Instagram. Thanks for clarifying. Any other questions? Anything I can answer? Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to join our Slack. I'll monitor some questions there and be able to kind of talk with you all. Stay safe, healthy, and sane during these weird times. And thank you so much for being here. Start building amazing things in AR, VR. I can't wait to see what you're all going to build. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.